final session for the afternoon. I have the pleasure of talking with Azadeh Dastmalchi, who is the co-founder and CEO of VitalTracer. So I would love to welcome Azadeh to the conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Happy to be here. Thank you for your invitation.
Absolutely. And before we jump into the questions, is there anything else you'd like to share? I obviously introduced you, but is there anything else you'd like to share about who you are or VitalTracer before we get into the conversation?
Sure. I'm Azadeh, CEO and co-founder of VitalTracer. And VitalTracer, we are a medical device startup. So this is not a wellness, this is as a medical device, but it has a ECG sensor, an optical sensor to measure, and it goes with the ECG disposable, goes on a chest as a patient remote monitoring system. And we started with the children, and right now we are focusing on the children's sector, and more specified niche market right now would be as hospital at home on oncology patient.
I love that idea of hospital at home. It's one of the trends that I think is so important when we think about mobility issues, transportation issues, and just general trying to get an appointment with a doctor in a clinic. So that's super exciting. And thank you for moving the needle in this very important space. So to I have a couple questions here. How do you see wearables integrating with artificial intelligence and other advanced technologies to really enhance health outcomes and overall patient care?
Right. Right now, wearables are becoming a powerful tool by integrating AI. But to be honest with you, I think that it might take maybe 3-4 years from now to really using AI to go on that side, because the most challenged part of the wearables as a medical device is the data, input data. We need a very clear, crystal clear and pure data, because junk in an AI, then junk out in AI.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But this technology goes for personalized health insight in a real time. And instead of going to the doctor, it can predict lots of different, especially cardiovascular issues, or predicting some others like influenza and so on. So we can, to detect early warning sign of the health issue, we can shift from reactive to proactive healthcare, where interventions are triggered before a condition wars. And this is what we are doing also in a VitalTracer. But for example, by monitoring a couple of minutes in a day for your ECG signals, you can predict a heart attack 5 years ahead. But this means that the person needs to use this technology for a couple of years. And that's why I say that AI can revolutionize, but not for now. It's more gonna coming in the next 3 to 4 years.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. And, on that note, knowing that in order for AI to, become smart enough and collect enough information over the next few years to really be super effective in this space, just thinking about, user friendliness. How do you balance your innovation in the biosignal wearable space with user friendliness, and ensuring that they're both obviously accurate, technologically advanced in doing what they're supposed to do, but also accessible to your audience?
Right. And I want to emphasize that for the more than a century, for medical device, they really not using patient centralized to do that. Like for the Holter ECG, you have to wear like 12 or 24 leads with a bunch of tapes. It doesn't matter that it's not comfortable for you, and it doesn't matter that you have to wear that bulky device. And lots of, especially children, get bullied in school by using that. So as long as it's the device that engineer built, and I am one of those engineers, it's work. We don't care that you like it or not. It's going to be good for your health. But now it's changing. Everything is changing, and they're giving more value of, okay, if we get the more value from the customers, more patient centralized, more nurse centralized, then it would be maybe even better. Patient can use that technology more often, so we can get the better insight informations from the patient and so on. And but to be honest with you, it's very difficult to. The only way is going to the different communities, going to the different hospitals, ask the nurses to use it, because as a medical device, the first user are nurses, and then the medical doctor who wants to get the decision, and then goes under the hands of patients, which is parents and children. So it is a very time consuming and complicated, but that's the medical device area. It's the most challenges medical areas that I can see. Not even as a medical in any industry, I believe that the medical device, if hardware especially, then it has a software and AI, that would be the most complex
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah, very, very complex. Absolutely. Especially anytime you're also capturing the data, just adds another layer to it. Something you mentioned in the last response, though, is, there's this, there was a time many years ago where wearing a heart monitor required all kinds of connection and bulkiness and is very just uncomfortable and made it very difficult to use. And now with the advancements that we're seeing, there's a trend to more user-friendly ways to capture this information, like with the wearables that you're developing and other things like that. That's obviously a huge trend that's evolving and changing the healthcare landscape. In this wearable space, what other sort of evolutions are you seeing in the next 5 to 10 years that could be driven by consumer expectations or just the sophistication of the technology? But any other trends you're seeing with wearables into the future?
I personally love to more focus on wearables as a medical device, not as a consumers, because the market of the consumers, we have like a 5 big players that they are king, and it's very hard to beat them, in my opinion. So if anyone wants to work or focus, medical area is a game changer, because this is what the medical doctors also need to be sure about the accuracy of the results. So in this case, I believe the most accurate one would be implantable, or at least mini invasive, like a tattoo. But I believe that it would be more normal, because to be mini invasive, like the wearable device that they use it for glucose monitoring, it has a mini needle in it, but it can get the much more accurate result comparing of any devices on skin. And I believe that that would be the future, that people got used to it, and technology will move on as smart tattoos, which don't struggle with the battery charging of the technology. I have an Oura Ring, I have an Apple Watch, and I stopped using them after a couple of years because I get tired of charging them during day before sleep and wearing and those things. I believe that the gold standard would be implantable. And I know that it's super hard for the FDA to approval, but I believe that in the next 10 years, the winner is going to be implantable.
I think that's great. And how do you see VitalTracer playing a role in that future?
That's a really good question. We are doing our best. So right now, because my own background, I have a bachelor, master, PhD all in biomedical engineering. So combination of medical and combination of engineering. And I'm so proud of our team, combination of medical doctors and engineers and multidisciplinary around us. So we always try to update ourselves with all new materials, new ICs, new technologies, new AIs to integrate and move forward with the new revolutionized technology. And this is what we are doing our best.
That's amazing. And congrats to you and your team for all your success, because I know it is hard and it is complicated. And you're not letting that stand in the way of moving things forward and changing the way healthcare is understood and addressed. So that's awesome. Based on your experience in this space, what are some of the, I mean, obviously we talked about how hard it is, but from your perspective, what are some of the biggest obstacles that you've encountered when you're trying to commercialize your biosignal wearables? And how are you kind of managing through those challenges?
So to be honest with you, I'm not on that sector completely yet exactly, but I believe that the distributing and selling the technology would be the hardest, especially that it's a medical device, medical distributors. But it's not only to find a good medical distributors always to sell the technology, but wearables as a medical device is a very novel things. Although that the wearable market is very well known, like Apple, Fitbit, Samsung, Garmin, they are awesome, doing awesome jobs, but I have a tachycardia. So my medical doctors have an issue to trusting those data as a wearable since if they don't have FDA approval. And some of them that you remove them and you don't wear it for a couple of days or hours by different reasons. But I forgot your question. Oh my God, I blank out.
It was really just, some of the challenges that you've experienced in your,
Yeah,
excuse me, excuse me, now I'm coughing,
got
your
it.
commercialization process.
Yeah, so convincing hospitals
Mm.
that buying this new technology, how much time and energy, for example, saving for the nurses, how much bed will be free for them, how much, whether the hospital's gonna buy, whether we save money for them or creating money for them. And that's really hard to
Mhm.
go one by one to each hospital, and we have to run a pilot studies, and not all the hospitals are ready to use that. Even the physicians that we go with them, they don't know what they really expect or they should expect from
Yeah.
this technology. So it's very fresh. No one's know. They know that all the governments, they know that the hospital at home, they have to run this pilot studies, but no one knows like which patient, how often you want to do these data. Do you want to share which kind of information to the parents or patients? It's like, do they need to hire a nurse to monitor like ICU? It's very vague for everyone, especially healthcare system, what they want and how they want. Like a reimbursement strategy, insurances, they don't know what to cover as a reimbursement, because okay, if it's a one device doing a multiple parameters monitoring, whether before that, whether like a Holter to monitor ECG or SpO2 for oxygen saturation, or the blood pressure for hypertension patients. Now they don't know that if medical doctor wants to prescribe this one for one parameters reimbursement. So no one knows exactly. They know this is what they want from the COVID, thanks to COVID, but it's not crystal clear for everyone what they want.
Yeah. When I
That's
think
the
I've
most
heard there was
challenging.
an old saying that, well, I don't know how old it is, but like if you've seen one health system, you've seen one health system. Everybody, they all have their own sort of metrics and needs. And so it makes it very complicated for organizations like yourself to try to get in there and prove the value. And there's a lot that goes into it. But, again, amazing work with VitalTrace. And I think you've really talked very eloquently about the challenges that you face, but the bravery that you also have it with your team to push through and drive the change that we need, because there is so much potential. It will work. It's just, driving it forward and finding the right collaborators to do it. So amazing work with your organization. Before we sign off, though, are there any last comments you'd like to share?
Not really. No. The other challenge that I can say, actually, it is about the FDA putting all different new rules and regulations, which is
Mm,
kind of delaying all the startups to move forward. And then it's okay with the old technologies that is in the market. So it's delaying and putting more hardship on startups, but this is
yeah.
what it is. We have to accept
Well,
and move
keep
with
up
it.
the
We
good
can't.
fight, because the old legacy systems need to be changed, and you're going to be doing, driving those changes. So congrats on that. And thank you so
Thank you very
much for your time and good luck. I look forward to staying in touch with you and watching your success continue.
Thank you, Amy. Have a great day.